Yesterday we discussed dividing polynomials by long division. Today we're going to look at synthetic division. So real quick, synthetic division sounds complicated. It's not. It's actually a simpler process for dividing a polynomial by a binomial. Now notice here the key word. The key word here is binomial. Okay, a binomial, bi means what? Two. So that means it's a term with two parts. Okay, and the parts are very specific. One part has to be a variable, and another part has to be a number. Example, like if you had x minus 2, or x plus 1, or x minus 3. Okay? And so now, what we're going to do is we're going to look at this. Okay? And it says use synthetic division to find. Two x cubed minus 13x squared plus 26x minus 24. A few rules about synthetic division. Okay. In your dividend, right here, you have to account for all variables. So that means if you skip one, you still have to put it in. Okay. Here's your little trick. Whatever your highest power is, you're going to have one more in terms of your terms. So my highest power is 3. That means I should have 4 terms. If not, you're going to see what we need to do. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take the coefficients of each of those terms and you're going to write them down. So I'm going to leave a space here on the left, just a little space. And then I'm going to put 2, negative 13, 26, negative 24. Now once again, you need to have one more number than the highest power. So if your highest power is 3, I need to have 4 numbers. I do. I'm good to go. Now what I'm going to do is now I'm going to have to divide by something. And so notice this is in the form x minus 4. It needs to be in the form x minus 4, x plus 4. Okay, so a variable minus or plus another number. What you're going to do is you're going to come out here, okay, and I'm going to put the number in a little like box there. And what number I'm going to put there is I'm going to put the opposite of whatever number this is. So what's the opposite of that? 4. Okay. Now the fun begins. Okay. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw a line right here. Notice I left a space. Very first step is you bring down the first number. So I'm going to bring down the first number. That's a 2. Now this is where it gets fun. Because I'm going to take the 2 times the 4. And I'm going to get what? 8. Wow. Okay? And I'm going to place it right underneath the negative 13. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the negative 13 and 8. What's negative 13 and 8? Negative 13 plus 8? Negative 5. Now what I'm going to do is take that number times 4 again. What's negative 5 times 4? Negative 20. I'm going to place that under the 26. What am I going to do now? Add down, and what do you get? 6. And then what am I going to do? Times 4. And what do I get? 24. Okay, when you add down, what do you get? 0. So now the question is, well, what is your answer? This is where you start. My highest power is 3, right? So basically, this is going to be 1 less than that. So my answer will be 2x squared minus 5x plus 6. What do you think 0 is? What do you think 0 is called? The remainder, right? So whatever this number here is, this is your remainder. And in this case, we have a remainder of 0. So that is going to be your final answer. All right, let's go ahead and look at another one. Okay? 4a to the 4th plus 2a squared minus 4a plus 12. I'm going to divide that by a plus 2. So what's my highest power? 4, so that means I'm going to need 5 numbers. How many do you count? 4 numbers. Oh, okay. Well, I know my first number here's got to be a 4, right? What's my next number got to be? 0. Why is my next number going to be 0?
Because exponent goes from 4 to
Yeah, there's no a cubed in there. So since there's no a cubed, I'm going to put a 0 for that. Then my a squared will be next, then my a, then my number. So you have to go in descending order. If you're missing a term, you have to insert it with a 0. What am I going to divide by?
2.
Negative 2, because remember, we always use the opposite of that number. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. What do? Bring the 4 down, so I get 4. What do I do now? Times by negative 2, and I get negative 8. Then what do? Add down, and I get negative 8. Yep. 16. Yep. 18. Very good. Negative 36. Yep. So negative 36 and negative 4 gives me negative 40 times negative 2 is 80. Bring that down. 92. So we know 92 is our remainder. Okay, now we got to figure out what does 4 go with. So my highest power is a to the 4th. So my next highest power would be a to the 3rd. So that means this is a squared, this is a, that's your number, and that's your remainder. So my answer will be 4a cubed minus 8a squared plus 18a minus 40. How am I going to write the remainder?
92 over
a plus 2. Very good. That's what we learned yesterday.
Why
So
would-
that is your final answer. Remember, we take our remainder, whatever our remainder is, and we put it over the divisor.
Still think you could do R right there.
So do you see, nice thing about this is it doesn't take up near the paper the long division did, and it's a lot faster. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
How come you didn't like take it down a power for the a squared and the
We actually did, because this is, once you start here, you always decrease by 1. Okay, so this will be your a cubed, this will be your a squared, this will be your a, and then that's your
No,
number.
I'm talking like you started off with 4 a to the 4th.
Right, right.
And you brought that down to the 3rd.
Right.
But how come you didn't bring like the 2a squared? How come you didn't make that an a?
It has to be
Okay, we don't attach the a cubes till the very, very, very end. Okay? We don't attach those. And see, actually what we're doing is we're taking a to the 4th here and we're dividing it by this a. So when you did that, when you did your long division, the first term would be 4a cubed at the top. If you were to do this with long division, you're going to get the exact same answer. Okay? So it's always 1 less. Okay, now the question is, we've got one big difference here.
There's a 2.
Ah, there's a 2. Okay? There's a 2 there. So I want you to go ahead and write that down. And then I want you to tell me, after you've written it down, kind of look at it, see if you know what we need to do. Because we can use synthetic division on this. Remember, everything else was in the form like x plus 2, x minus 2. This is 2x. How could I get rid of the 2x? Divide by 2, right? In which case, this becomes x plus 1/2. Oh.
Don't like fractions.
So what's the opposite of 1/2? Negative 1/2. So we're just going to do the same thing, except for we're going to use a negative 1/2. And yes, you can do that. So let's go ahead and list my coefficients. What are my coefficients going to be, folks? 8. 0. Good. Negative 4.
Do you always have to have a
1. 4. Yes. You always, yes. So basically, the question is, do you have to put that 0 in? You bet, because you have to have every term accounted for. Otherwise, it's not going to work. And you can better bet that come test time, I'm going to have one that you need to put the 0 in on. Probably a couple. So we bring down the 8. What's negative 1/2 times 8? Negative 4. Good. What do I get when I add down? Negative 4. So I have negative 4 times negative 1/2, which is 2. Add down, you get negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 1/2 is 1. Add down, you get 2. 2 times negative 1/2 is negative 1. So my remainder is 3. So somebody tell me what my answer is going to look like.
8x cubed minus 4x squared minus 2x plus 2, 3 over x plus 1.
Okay? Or I could put 2x plus 1, doesn't matter. 2x plus 1 or x plus 1/2, same thing. And there you go. Like these a lot better than the long division? They're a lot quicker. We went through 3. Real
Easier to
quick.
remember the steps.
Yeah. And real quick, this is and we're not necessarily going to go through this one and solve. I just wanted to show it to you just so that we had another one with this. Okay? And so what would I divide by on this problem?
3.
So I would divide by 3. Okay, so then I get c minus 4/3. So what's going to be the number I divide with on the outside? 4/3. So I'm going to go ahead and divide by 4/3, which is the opposite of that. And you're going to have, and that's the nice thing, you could use long division on these problems as well, or you could use synthetic division. So this is what I need you to do. First of all, tomorrow I'm going to give you time to work on this worksheet in class. This is the plan for tomorrow. You're going to have a quiz. You will have the remaining time after your quiz to work on your worksheet. Okay, but I'm going to go ahead and give it to you today so I don't have a lot to hand out tomorrow. Okay. The other thing you need to do is finish your assignment from yesterday. Now, one of the nice things about your assignment from yesterday is you can use synthetic division on any of those problems. Okay, so on any of those problems, 20 through 30, you can use synthetic division. The ones you cannot use synthetic division on are 12 through 16. Okay? So anyway, that's the plan. Friday, we're going to go on to section 5.3, but we will check page 315 and your worksheet.